I think that, so we use laser a lot in stone surgery, and it's very, very effective, and I think they've tweaked it a lot so that we get better and better results. But I think one of the other places that it's been used is in prostate surgery, to sort of be our energy source for dissecting out the prostate. But there seems to be this give and take in how effective it is at incising the tissue and how effective it is in coagulating the tissue. And so I think some sort of laser that could do both of those or swap between functions or settings so that it does those better would be very, very helpful.
What kind of needs you need for laser surgery?
Yeah. So that's her question. That's what you have now. What if you were to have one wish that a laser could do? What would you want it to do?
I would want it to be able to switch modes from being very, very precise and very clear at what sort of damage I'm going to do to the tissue, and then switch into a mode that coagulates very well more broadly and can give me better visualization by controlling bleeding.
Kyle or Johannes, do you have any thoughts?
We use lasers in endotracheal surgery, so to ablate tumors in the airway. So I sort of echo that. A laser that we could have, the lasers that we have right now are very thin catheter based that fit down bronchoscopes and only do a tiny piece of the tumor at a time. So if you had a laser that could be a thin, flexible catheter that can also broaden sort of its range and be able to ablate more tissue at a time, we'd find that very helpful.
Look like automatization is a problem. Yes, automatization of this kind of surgery.
Correct. So if you can optimize what we're doing right now, we don't know what the future is for laser applications, but right now it has a lot of applications for endoscopic ablation and resection.
Yes.
So that would probably be the best way I would answer that.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
The question was a good question, and it's related to the same question. Is there a platform that clinicians or surgeons, doctors in the area use to advertise or describe the problems that they're having with these unmet needs? Because if they do, then so many innovators and inventors over here can actually take a look at that.
So I guess let me restate the question. Is there a forum by which clinicians who are busy have an ability to say, these are unmet needs, help me? Is that the question? Okay. So we'll start with Johannes has got the microphone.
To be honest, I don't know of one, but we need one. If you come to our surgeon's lounge in the OR, you will hear no shortage of people complaining. But I think that's a really good and powerful idea. I think that most of us are, we're focused on what we're trying to do, and we're also not the kind of, especially surgeons, we're not the kind of personality types to ask other people for help. We're always trying to bootstrap ourselves and try to solve problems ourselves, but it's not a great way to do things, and I think that could be really valuable. Maybe the other surgeons know some resources I don't.
I was just going to point out some of the biodesign programs that are still out there. Stanford's pretty competitive, but you've got a number of them out there. Texas Medical Center down in Houston, they've got a really incredible program that can match individuals like yourself for that really immersive experience. I'm not aware of too many forums where that actually exists, but the more that you can get involved in those truly dedicated year-long programs that are more of like a fellowship type opportunity, I think that's where you'll get the most traction and success with forming a team and figuring out what needs are worth solving.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any online forum or Facebook group or anything like that, but I agree with the complaining outside the OR, and I again agree that these programs for students coming out of interdisciplinary relationships between universities and industry is a great place for clinicians to basically present their idea or their problem. And in my particular program, we had a slew of people that came through, presented their problem, and we as a group picked the ones we wanted to work on, and that was very productive.
I'll give you a perspective at UCSF. We had this issue at being a major medical center that we did not have engineers to be able to implement our ideas. And 10 years ago, we collaborated with Caltech, who has a good engineering, chemistry, and a variety of other basic sciences, and they had no access to a medical center. So we decided to have this collaboration. And there's about maybe 70 or 80 people that come to it. We are going to have another one this coming February, and everyone signs a non-disclosure so people can sort of say, this is my idea. And we limit it to 10 minutes. This is the problem. This is what I think it is. And then 20 minutes where people will just shoot you down and make you look like nothing. Okay, but it's a nice idea. It's generated 3 or 4 companies. Some of them have done very well. But I think there is this need to be able to have the clinicians who identify on a daily basis a clinical problem, but we can't necessarily solve that without the computer scientists, the engineers, the material science folks, the chemists, the biologists. And I think really that's the key of trying to bring all those people together. And in my mind, when we look at the thing, unmet needs, that is a need that needs to be addressed, where we have a group of individuals who knows what the problem is, and we have another group of people who have the know-how to make things different. So I'm just getting the high sign that we need to call it. I want to appreciate everybody's time for being here.